Welcome to highlights of the Dreidags at Brugge De Panne, the final UCI Men's World Tour race of the 2020 season. The riders rolling out at 11 o'clock in Brugge, headed for the coast, and the sand dunes of Kokzijde finishing with 3 laps of a circuit encompassing De Panne, Kokzijde and Veurne. I can tell you this morning in West Flanders, the wind was blowing really strong from the southwest in actual fact, so right across the riders, and from the get-go this morning causing absolute havoc. Echelons were the order of the day, as you'd expect, particularly in this part of Belgium, and a big group of some 22, 23 riders forming early on. The big team who missed it were Jumbo-Visma. Pascal Enkhorn there showing his frustration as he looked back at Group 2 being led by Alexander Kristoff. Piotr Havik was wreaking his own havoc in the front group, taken out by the wind and a touch of wheels, as were he and a number of other world-class riders. Things being driven on at the front end, and in amongst it all, Tim Merlier, the former Belgian road race champion, doing a bit of top tube surfing. How on earth he saved that one, I will never know. As we got nearer and nearer to the final lap taking us into De Panne, there were riders dripping off the back, and the group was becoming 15, then 13, then 12, and so on. One or two of them worked their way back on as well. Sven-Erik Bystrom, one of those to do so. As we headed through the last bit of sunshine and out onto the final lap, we had just 12 riders. The two teams there in biggest numbers, De Koning Quickstep, as you'd expect in Belgium, and Alpecin Fenix. And they had Mathieu van der Poel there, the Dutch national champion. You can see him fourth wheel in the shot right now, looking good and working for Tim Merlier by the look of things. Hugo Hofstetter of Israel Startup Nation, the first of those to be shelled on the final lap as the mincing winds of West Flanders took their toll. As we got nearer and nearer to Veurne and the finish, it was certain the winner would be coming from this leading group. And so it was to be. As the heavens opened, the rain began to fall. And the riders knew they would have to work their wits about them in order to take the better of De Koning Quickstep. The rain fell, and unfortunately, as we got nearer to the finish, so did one of the riders, Mathieu van der Poel, just 3 days ago, the winner of the Ronde van Vlaanderen, finding himself in a Belgian ditch. Thankfully, a grassy, soft landing, but a deep and fast one nonetheless. I'm pleased to report Mathieu van der Poel was back up, looking fairly lucid and with it, but he did climb into the Alpecin Fenix team car, and that ends his 2020 road season. It has to be said, what a season it's been. We look forward to seeing him back on the cyclocross circuit in near future, no doubt. The rain continued to fall, but things brightened a little as we got nearer and nearer to De Panne itself and the 800-metre finishing straight. De Koning Quickstep doing everything they could with the 4 riders remaining in that leading group to do so. And this was the point, as you see it right now, that Yves Lampaert, seated and driving hard along the long straight run into De Panne, stuck his head down and got on with it. Of course, behind, hesitation, Matteo Trentin, having done so much already, relying on Jonas Ricard of Alpecin Fenix to try and close it down. Try he would, but to no avail, because going under the 1k to go flag, Yves Lampaert had in excess of 30 seconds and knew he had sewn up his final race of the year with a big win. Time to celebrate in front of a muted and very modest Belgian crowd, of course, bringing the entire one-day World Tour men's season to a close. And as if to make it the perfect day for De Koning Quickstep, following up behind the tractor himself, as he's affectionately known, Tim de Klerk, taking second place just overhead of a fast-finishing Tim Merlier, just out-sprinting John Degenkolb, the German, on the line, making it a Belgian top 3, all 3 places taken by the Belgian riders. Great day out for De Koning Quickstep. You would expect that with 4 of them in the leading group, after a day in which the West Flandrian winds had properly shredded our field. There's your top 10. Yves Lampaert, Tim de Klerk and Tim Merlier, just ahead of the first non-Belgian, the German, John Degenkolb. Trentin riding well, as was Jempe Drucker, having worked his way back in from being dropped from that group. Yves Lampaert rightly proud, having been 7th and 5th in his last 2 classic races, to then get the win here today in West Flanders. For all those riders, it's their last race of the season. We look forward to seeing them in course when the Spring Classics are in their normal calendar place.